pan for sapphires in Montana. Very scenic drive, although there were some very difficult spots on this particular road. The end result was well worth the effort.
Crystal.
Crystal? How old are you, Crystal? 6. Boy, I wish I was 6 again.
Me too.
Do they find any sapphires here?
Mhm.
How many?
A whole bunch.
Oh. Do you know how to shake for sapphires? I'll be doggone.
I found some yellow ones.
Oh. Turn the box. Need some more. Over the place. Flip her over. Okay, now you see the circle of black rock there. That's your hematite iron. It's real heavy. And that's your sapphire.
Yeah, man.
And you get your little bag out.
Here, my little bag.
And your little jackknife, if you have one.
You got a knife?
A pair of tweezers away. I'm going to try to...
Oh, I think I got a
Here, Matt.
There's a pretty one.
Now be careful, the wind will take your bag and it'll be all gone.
I'll hang on to the bag.
The little, yeah, the little splater. Yeah, and just so you can lift them out of there without disturbing the rocks. Be sure and keep your eyes open. There's gold nuggets are found here, so you got to keep your eyes open looking for
Here,
them.
just put it in my hand. Oh, that's pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
That is pretty.
Gorgeous color.
You know what you're doing, Matt.
Now after you've gone through and found as many as you can spot, then you start on your edges and go rock by rock and just eliminate the ones you know are not sapphires, garnets, gold. There have been recorded 4 diamond crystals that have been found here, and some topaz, and also phosphor.
Really?
Yeah, so you gotta kind of pick up anything you're not sure about.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks. Oh, that's a pretty one.
Let's see it.
Let me get my tweezers. Okay. Right there. See it? See all the ones I got in my bag?
Right on the east edge of Glacier Park. Tomorrow I think we might take a boat cruise. And this is a view from a camper of St. Mary's Lake. And the small campground we stayed at the little town of St. Mary's, which is right on the east edge of Glacier Park. And today we will take a trip through Glacier Park. And as we stop here, just a mile or so inside the boundary, the scenery is already breathtaking. And the view across St. Mary's Lake. The lake reflects the mountains and the clouds. And on the lake there sometimes are boat tours who travel up and down the lake. The tour boats, as you see here, are rather small boats. The lake is only about 30 miles long, with many coves and waterfalls. And as we drive by the beautiful waterfalls and the streams, we make another short stop. As we progress through the park, we climb higher and higher in elevation. And in doing so, we come closer and closer to the last patches of snow and the snow-capped mountains that are remaining at the very peaks. And on the road again, climbing higher and higher. One has to drive rather slowly. Canyon. Up here in the snow country, we're up about 13,000 feet. And there you see a beautiful waterfalls as a result of the melting snow. This canyon is probably 2,000 or 3,000 feet to the bottom of the canyon. And the wind's blowing, probably 20 miles an hour, but it's really not cold. The snow and so on looks much colder than it really is. It's a warm wind. But this is a very deep valley. It must be 2,000 feet down to where you see the thick stand of trees. And as we continue through the tunnels, forever looking, forever wondering what the early settlers might have thought as they passed through. There we see a wolverine across the road. And the remaining snow is melting quite rapidly, causing the streams to tumble very fast down thousands of feet of rock on their way to the bigger rivers. Beautiful, beautiful scenery, every direction that you look. And here we're driving along the Weeping Wall, almost continuous waterfalls. And in some cases we get a little bit of a rainbow effect. And some of the old touring cars that bring hundreds of visitors to the park each year. And on we go, traveling slowly, very comfortably, along the Weeping Wall. Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, it turned out to be a better day than I thought it was. I thought it would be more cloudy than this.
So what you think?
And as the snow melts, it forms rivers and falls, and tumbles and tumbles and tumbles to thousands of feet to the valley floor. And then rushes on to the larger streams and eventually into large rivers. The rivers in Glacier Park support an abundant fish life of trout and other various fish. And a little ground squirrel here was begging for food, and one of the tourists would gladly oblige. And another old touring car that they use to take the many, many visitors through the park each summer. And some more beautiful streams. And on down the road we stop at Lake McDonald Lodge, which was situated on the shores of Lake McDonald. Inside the lodge lobby was a very beautiful scenery, painting a very beautiful view out the window with a very large fireplace, which was in operation the day we were there. It was just a little chill in the air. There are many other small cabins and buildings for the guests around the lodge. And again, Lake McDonald is over 400 feet deep in places and quite large. They have tour boats that tour Lake McDonald. we were possibly going on a tour on the lake, but it became late in the day and we thought we should maybe move on. But a very, very beautiful lake. And after leaving Lake McDonald, we travel on, and our next stop is Edmonton, Alberta, where we're on the way now to the world's largest mall of over 850 stores. One of the great wonders of the modern world, and we're on. This is the mall. So we arrive at the mall, and of course, every lady is drawn to a mall. There was numerous waterfalls or fountains in the mall, over 100, and we're now entering one wing of the large mall, which was the amusement part or amusement area. Very large indeed. It's very difficult to believe that anything this large could be inside, with very large roller coasters and many, many amusements and rides, all enclosed in just one wing of this very large mall. This was a display of water that shot from one drum to another through a rubber covering, and then triggered the next shot of water. And each one was precisely aimed with the exact amount of force to hit that tiny hole, which again triggered the next shot of water. Interesting and quite an achievement, I guess. And up, up, up goes the roller coaster. And away we go. Looks like a lot of fun. However, we did not ride any of the rides. We wanted to see as much as possible in the short period of time that we had there. This is another type of coaster. However, it's not nearly as severe a ride. It's more like a monorail that takes you throughout the amusement section of the mall. Also in the mall, as we'll see a little later on, they have a large beach and wave machine. The mall is also many stories in places, up to 4 or 5 stories high, with streams and fountains. This is just another wing with a very, very large skating rink. It's truly an architect's dream and quite a construction achievement. And as we continue walking through the mall, there's glass elevators that slide up and down the outside of some of the restaurants. And located in the mall is a submarine ride. similar to the one at Disney World. It takes different visitors under the water where they can see the fish and porpoises. There are several displays of aquatic life, such as porpoises, seals, small whales, and located in the middle of the mall, or I don't know about middle, in one of the wings, there's a very large, life-size, real-size sailing ship of the type used many, many years ago. And then this is one of the wings that's several stories high and gives you the impression that you may be on a downtown street in France, as it has French decor and quaint French shops. All covered by a very, very large glass dome. And again, one of the glass elevators. Also in the mall they have quite a large putt-putt golf course. The evening that we were in the mall, there was not a lot of people there. It was not crowded at all. And we spent a very enjoyable evening. And again, the old sailing ship located there in the mall. This is the beach area and the huge water slide. And looking through the glass, one would almost believe that they were about to take a trip to the beach. It took several minutes for a person to leave the top of the giant water slide till they finally appeared at the bottom. And with a little help, out they come. Of course, the beach was complete with a wave machine. To make one think that you was really at the beach. You can imagine yourself in the surf of Florida or Hawaii, California. Any place but Edmonton, Alberta, where it gets very cold in the wintertime. Even the beach wasn't crowded the day that we were there, although it was very warm outside. Also in the mall, in several different areas, is wildlife displays, either of cougars, as you see here, mountain lions, and in some areas they have exotic tropical birds or very large aquariums. And as we walk along the second or third level of the mall, looking down, they have live trees planted, many clothing stores, art stores that sell some very expensive paintings, and again fountains. There must be 100 fountains or more throughout the mall. And as we continue down one of the aisles of the mall, here's a display of monkeys. And overlooking a portion of the amusement park. And we run across a large glassed-in area with running water and several different species of tropical birds. It seems that in the construction of this mall that no expense was spared for the entertainment and convenience of the shopper or sightseer. And walking back past the ice arena, we see that some of Alberta's hockey players are practicing. And on down past the very large aquarium. Here we ran across a fellow in one of the small towns that had to tie his pet bear to the traffic sign while he went in the bar for a drink. And on with a very short stop at Dawson Creek, British Columbia, which is the start of the Alaskan Highway. And here's a small visitor center. And inside the visitor center we see some of the things that have been excavated in Alaska and the Yukon throughout the years. This set of elk antlers, I believe, was found in a riverbed and was over 30,000 years old, according to estimates. And some of the Indian artwork. With numerous mounted animals that's native to the Canadian Northwest and Alaska. And continuing along north, along the Alaskan Highway, we run into a gravel portion. And then back on the pavement again. And as we climb higher in elevation, a late summer's rain shower turns to snow, and apparently an hour or two before we arrived there, it had a snow accumulation in this area of about 4 or 5 inches, and then it was rapidly melting off. And we passed through.
Yeah, one on the side that says backlight up and to the left. My paths cut through the trees when they're going to build the new highway. Right down in low gear. Dust is something fierce. I don't know what's going on up here. I can hardly see the snow-capped mountains. And there's the winner, the Miss America contest. Now that trooper didn't come yet. It's been a rough go today. As soon as we make this curve, there'll probably be some snow-capped peaks out here to the southwest. We're gonna climb it.
Well, I definitely get back to my lane.
Some beautiful scenery here in British Columbia. A lot of deer, bear.
This is Stone Mountain, British Columbia. I would stop here just for a second. This is the highest point on the Alaskan Highway, and Summit Lake is just ahead. We just came through some snow.
Sign just a little ways back said to watch for stone sheep. A lot of stone sheep in this area. This is the highest point on the Alaskan Highway. A place called Summit Lake. Just past Summit Lake, about 3 miles back. Off through the pass now. And I don't want to take an upset. Gas for less, 1 mile. Well, that's unusual. Gas line up and down. We're in the heart of stone sheep country here in grizzly country as far as British Columbia goes. Also a tremendous amount of moose. Muncho Lake.
In downtown Burbank.
And we're still in British Columbia, and the sign back there said watch for moose, sheep, bears, and caribou. And we just offered $5 to the first one that sees a caribou, which will obviously be me.
Don't bet on it. I got the first $5 for the sheep.
And here we're traveling along the Alaskan Highway, along Summit Lake, which is quite a large lake, abundant with fish life. The elevation of the lake is almost 2,700 feet above sea level. And in the lake is grayling, whitefish, northern pike, and lake trout to 50 pounds. Sometimes we have contests to see who can spot the next game animal.
You want it?
And as we drive along the highway, we see some of these very large trophy stone sheep rammed down along the road. There's a natural mineral lick here, and the sheep come down to get the minerals out of the ground, lick the ground, and back on the road again. We stopped by the roadside to look at this and photograph this moose calf that appears to be about a year old. Said by many to be one of the ugliest of nature's animals. And he didn't seem too interested in us much one way or the other. And here we are passing the sign forest near Prince George, British Columbia. People bring a sign from their favorite town and leave it there on their way through. And we ran into some bad luck. We had a flat tire on the back of the camper, and as the tire disintegrated on the rim, it punched holes in the tire in front of it. And we only had one spare tire. That's yours truly lying under the trailer. So we put the good spare on the back tire, and as luck would have it, one chance in a million, the spare tire off the truck also fit the camper. So with that, we put the spare tire off the truck on the camper and was able to go on our way. Very lucky indeed.
Up a little bit off the jack because it's down on the wrong part. Bear with me a minute.
Either one of them do.
Little one, we take it easy. As you can see, this tire went bad, and then the wire in this tire punched holes. And we arrive in Whitehorse without any further tire problems. And upon getting there, got another new tire for a spare and continued on. This is the steamship Klondike that is now a restored riverboat that many years ago went up and down the Yukon River with passengers and cargo. Today it is a restaurant and is restored in the near original condition, and it's tied up on the Yukon River as it flows past Whitehorse. And upon arriving in Whitehorse, we see a DC-3, which is actually a weather vane that indicates which way the wind is blowing, located in the front of the Whitehorse Airport. And as you see, the control tower. Airplanes are the basis of transportation in the Whitehorse.
Beautiful downtown Whitehorse.
That's
Population
the
18,000.
train station
What's the train station?
of the famous White Pass and Yukon Trail. And as we see the White Pass and Yukon train terminal and the seaplane base just outside of Whitehorse. Many seaplanes are based here. It's one of the primary sources of transportation. And we spent an hour or so watching the planes land and take off. That's enough in the morning to get a good start, but it's 20 after 8, and maybe we'll be lucky enough to see some deer or elk crossing here, or up feeding up on the slope a little bit later on. That's that Silver Street campus right across most of the campus. Just seems like you can't get any closer to it. There's moose, bear, and caribou in this area, although we haven't seen any as yet. I'm tired, yeah. Junction yet, but we should be coming in there in just another mile or so. This is really an easy drive as compared to what it was in 1978 when we was up here last. This was all mud and very narrow, so you had to, top speed was 30-35 miles an hour at that time, and you had to stop and get over when you passed someone else.
clouds are kind of hanging around the peaks today. And we're entering Clooney Park. It's a beautiful, beautiful scenery. It's kind of a cloudy, overcast day. The temperature outside is probably in the mid-50s, I would say by now, maybe even close to 60. It's only 9. And as we continue, although it's only 9:30 in the morning, there goes a small black bear ran across the road in front of us there, if you notice that. And here is a small boat harbor. The boats are unable to come and go unless the tide is high. This is one of the areas where we fish for halibut, salmon, and the boats come in on the high tide and left on the high tide, and as you see now it's low tide. The boats, some of which are sitting right on the bottom. And next to the boat harbor is a small cannery where they can the salmon as they come in fresh off the boat. This is a very picturesque area, and this is where the Kenai River flows into Cook Inlet at the town of Kenai. And as you see now, the tide is nearly out. When the tide is high, the area we are standing in would be covered by several feet of water. The tides in Alaska are some of the highest in the world, and some approaching 40 feet. And this is the motor home of the friends who traveled along with us, and the campgrounds located in Nonilchik, Alaska. A very peaceful and relaxing summer we spent in Alaska, with the warm days and cool evenings. And on numerous times we were reminded when we would call home back in Ohio that they were suffering from one of the hottest summers ever, with temperatures